3, 2. My next guest was one of the big winners at UFC Vegas 102 back on February 15th, getting a highlight reel finish. It's Jose Delgado joining me here on the program. Jose, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Long-time listeners, so pretty excited to be interviewed by you.
Hey, well, listen, the honor's all mine, man, after watching that performance. And I got to give a little backstory here. So I was going to interview you anyways because, I was really impressed with the performance. And obviously, you're a guy that's been doing quite well in the octagon. And you actually reached out to me and the stars kind of aligned because I was in Seattle last week. Normally I do, interview the fighters after they win the following week, but I was away last week. So long story short, happy we're all here to do this. Really excited about that. But I got to ask, man, we were a week or so removed from the win, from the big win in your debut. Has it sunk in yet that you're a UFC fighter and you just got your first win?
Yeah, it's starting to, man. It's very sweet. The reception's been so nice, man. It's one of the cooler aspects about this, right? You go out there, you compete, you lay it out on the line, and then you get home and, everyone's so proud, everyone's so happy, and to be able to give that to them and then to be able to receive that from them is such a cool feeling.
I know you were confident going into the fight, and you've looked great in all of your performances, but did you expect the fight to end that quickly? I know you don't get paid by the hour, but I'm sure also, maybe didn't expect to be in there that little.
Dude, I had so much confidence leading into it, man. I had 6 months since my last fight, and I've been working my tail off. Like, I've been not just working hard for the sake of working hard, but really trying to evolve, really trying to push the limits of the mental capacity, the physical capacity, building up new aspects, working with new coaches. Quick little shout out to Everton Lopez, Olympic national team member for Brazil from 2008 to 2012. We worked a ton on that little, just simple little level change cross. We worked that for months and months, and then building up my physique and my strength and conditioning up with Al Escobar over at Aries PT. They do Jared Cannonier strength and conditioning, and I worked with them on the off season, and then came back with our main guy J Rock at the MMA lab. But all those guys, just all the work that I did leading up to this gave me immense confidence. I knew I'd get it done. I didn't know when. I didn't put any pressure on it, but I just knew it was gonna be a matter of time.
Did you know you were a big betting favorite going into the fight too? I don't know if you pay attention to that stuff.
I don't pay attention to it. Everybody will come up to me and be like, "Hey, fake an injury, walk in with a limp, do some like Willy Wonka shit, like get these odds lower." And I'm like, "Hey, I don't care about this stuff, man. You guys do whatever you're gonna do." But, yeah. It's cool.
To be fair, though,
cool
I think the odds
about
on you finishing were better, though. So if people wanted better odds, you just pick a method of victory, right? It would be a little bit better. So you tell them that next time.
Gotcha.
Because you do finish a lot of fights. And man, that win must have not also been special just for you getting the win, but Jared Cannonier obviously winning as well. Like it must have been cool to experience that with him.
Yeah, how special was that, man? Jared was in a position where his back was a little bit more against the wall, at least from the outside, like looking in. And, it was a privilege to watch him just go through camp, knowing what he was going to have to face. RoboCop was dangerous. He had some momentum on his side. And then shout out to RoboCop, man. That guy was prepared. Like, that guy studied. I remember after we fought, we were headed, the shuttle was taking us back to the airport, and I was in the shuttle with RoboCop, and he was just there rewatching his fight. I don't speak Portuguese, but, you could kind of pick up on it a little bit from the context. But he was so analytical. He was so studying. He's like, "Oh, I did this wrong. I did this wrong. How this affected me." And that just a massive respect on RoboCop's end. Like, he was a game competitor. That's the best I've ever seen RoboCop look. That first round was, oh, fuck, all our assholes were puckered watching that first round. That was a scary, scary round. And to see Jared just show his resolve, show his mettle. What we know who Jared is. Like, the people that are around him, we know what the type of man he is, the type of character he is, the quality of man he is. But it was cool for him to go out there and show the rest of the world that, not like he hasn't done it over and over in the past, but just a y'all must have forgot, in case y'all did forget.
Did you talk to him after you got the win? Because obviously you fought earlier.
Yeah, I was begging the UFC to let me stay. Like, I'll be backstage, I'll be wherever, but they kind of take, how it is.
I know they got to get you out of
the
there,
hotel. Yeah. But they were nice enough to let me go, give him a hug, tell him, how grateful I am to be on the same card, share this moment with him, and, wish him the best of luck.
And obviously Jared's very accomplished and, one of the top middleweights in the world. And he's also one of the older fighters on the roster. Does he kind of give that like dad vibe in the gym? Because I know it is like a family at the lab, right? Would you consider Jared to be like one of the parents at the gym, so to speak? In a good way, though. I mean, like a responsible guy that you can kind of look up to, right?
A guy we look up to for sure. But like, it's funny. Like, I'll say like, oh, I look up to Jared. I'll repeat that, or I'll say it throughout interviews, and then like they'll like ask Jared about that. Oh, how do you feel? And he kind of bounce that off. Like, nah, that's a peer. That's a peer. Like, nah, I'm not really. But like, it to me that makes me really respect Jared's mindset of in terms of like, no, I'm still climbing. I'm still trying to achieve. I'm still trying to evolve. For me, that's one of the biggest things I love about this game. It's ever evolving. You can never stop. The moment you stop, you die in this game. So for him to keep that attitude when he is one of the older guys, when he has that respect of all his peers, of all the fans watching, but for him to be like, no, let's settle down. I still got more to go, makes me respect the guy even so much more and kind of want to put him on that pedestal. But because of his sake and because of how he views it, I won't.
When you want to get back in there? Obviously, we're a week removed from the fight. I know you like staying active. It looked like you came out of there relatively unscathed. Is there sort of an ideal time for you to get back in there and have that next fight?
Yeah, man, I asked for May. I'd love to fight in front of a crowd. I was checking out the calendar for the UFC events yesterday. They got one in Iowa. They got one in Montreal. And then I think the rest are Apex. So really, I really would prefer the Iowa and the Montreal more than anything. I just want to fight in front of a crowd. There's nothing more than that makes you feel alive than hearing a roar of thousands of people losing their mind. To have a knockout sensational moment like that and have a crowd erupt, it's what I've dreamed of since I was a little kid, man. So if we can get that in the books, I'd be a very happy man.
If I had to guess, you've never been to Montreal before. I take it.
Heavens no.
It's okay. So I've been I'm Canadian, obviously. I've been to Montreal a bunch of times. I used to live in Toronto, which is only like, a couple hour drive to Montreal, man. I'm telling you, if there's one card you can get on that card for two reasons. Number one, the crowd's amazing. Like they're really passionate sports fans. They have like obviously the hockey team there, the NHL team, the Montreal Canadiens, which is like a historic team. But also they haven't been in forever. I was at the last card. That was Demetrius Johnson and Horiguchi. They haven't been in a long time. I guarantee you there's this pent up like, excitement for them to come back. Yeah, so they're going to be chomping to the bit. So yeah, if there's one card you can get on, it's Montreal. And let me tell you, as far as cities go, you will not find a closer city to like a city that you'd see in Europe than Montreal. It's really cool. So I'm telling you right now, that's the card to get on if you can get on it, because it's going to be a really good event. So
yeah, no, that was a dream. I was always a big fan of GSP, watching the countdowns, watching the prime times. You look at a city and you're like, what? Where is that at? Like, that's crazy looking. So it's cool. All the French history in Montreal. I definitely love it. I'm a big history guy. I'm a big architecture guy. So Montreal's a great spot for that. I'd love to check it out.
And a lot of people think too, you have to speak French. A lot of people speak English in Montreal too. So it's not even like a thing. Like it's, you will get a lot of stuff that's written in French, but it's very bilingual there. So just throwing that out there.
Would they be mad if I use a French accent?
You know what's weird? The French accent and the Quebec French accent are different. So they can tell that. So whichever one you're modeling. I was going to say, just model GSP. Yeah, exactly. You model GSP, you'll be in good books there. Any opponents of mine, or I guess you're earlier in your career, just whoever works best. Or is there any matchups you look at and think that would be a fun one?
I really study the top. I should do a better job of looking at the division as a whole, but just where I'm at this stage of my career, I don't know what are viable options. Like, I want the top guys. Like, I looked at, Zala, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that would be sweet. But those aren't the next readily available fights. I have to earn my way up to that. So no, not this stage, but I'm looking at the top.
And I believe they already have a bantamweight fight on that card already sorry, you're not bantamweight, you're featherweight, my bad. But but I was just going to say, like, I'm sure you can keep an eye on that card anyways in case anything like falls out or, we'll if you don't end up getting on. But we still got some time, right? That's in May. So that's one to kind of keep in mind too. Want to ask you about a couple other fights that are coming up, because I know you do. You are a fan of the sport as well. We got that Dan Hooker and Justin Gaethje fight coming up. I was curious your pick on that one. Who do you think gets it done?
I think Gaethje gets it done. I think Gaethje's got the footwork. Dan's got really good feints. I think he's going to look to chop. Oh, man, the leg kicking battle between the two will be so interesting. Gaethje's just brute force, and Dan's a little more savvy with his leg kicking. It's going to be violence, man. We
got a new fight for London. It's going to be Sean Brady taking on Leon Edwards in the main event. Who do you think takes that one?
I don't know where Leon Edwards' head's at. Like, a couple of the comments he's made in public, that might just be for show, but it doesn't speak to the best of headspace, man, if he's not hungry for the title. Like I was saying, if you're not wanting to be the best in this, like, I don't think you should be in this sport. It's too dangerous, it's too violent. Guys are too hungry, and momentum. The bigger dream usually wins. I think right now Sean Brady has a bigger dream.
Okay. The other fight that they announced recently, Patricio Pitbull signing with the UFC, going to be fighting Yair Rodriguez on that Miami card. Who do you think has the edge there?
That's a tough one. Yair's so fast. He kicks so quickly. The dexterity of his kicks are nuts. Patricky's a little older in his career, but man, he's still so good. His positioning's so good. I see Yair taking it. I think Yair will be a little hungry coming off the Ortega loss.
Yeah. Also on that card, we got Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. Who's winning that?
Paddy Pimblett. I never gave him credit, and then after the Bobby Green fight, I was like, he's pretty good. And I don't think too highly of Chandler. Skill.
Okay. Main event, Volkanovski Lopez. Who's winning the title?
I think on paper, Volkanovski still has all the advantages, but I think that one's going to boil down to the bigger dream wins. And in my opinion, that's Lopez right now. I think he wants his bad, and I think he can get it done.
And last one, we referenced it there, the Montreal card, May 10th, Bilal Muhammad, Jack Della Maddalena. Who's winning the title?
I'm a big JDM fan, so I want Jack Della. Bilal's so tough. That jab's been improving his wrestling game. The way he mixes his interconnection of the entire MMA game is really outstanding. But I'm a big fan of Jack Della Maddalena, and just as a fan, I'd want him to get it done.
Do you think he gets it done, though?
I think so. I think the grappling exchanges are going to be surprising for some people that aren't aware of Jack Della's counter wrestling approach. I think he does a really good job with his Grambies and just keeping the scramble going. And he's tough, man. I mean, broken arm against Gilbert Burns, down on the clock, and he finds a way to make it happen. Like, those are the intangibles of a champion. That's what I see from Jack Della Maddalena.
We just had UFC Seattle last week. Pretty good card. It's unfortunate what happened in the main event, but what's your take on that as a fellow fighter? Obviously, they ruled it a win for Song Yadong, but there were some fouls. There was the eye poke. I think a lot of fans felt like there should have been a point taken away for Song Yadong. What do you make of that whole situation with the main event?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because it was a pretty egregious foul.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like a point taken away or no contest, it's either a no contest or a win for Song. Like, I think Song, I'm happy that Song won the fight. I felt like he was winning the fight. I feel like the momentum was on his side. I'm a big fan of Henry in the cage, but I think the right thing happened. As shitty of a circumstance as it was, I think Song winning was the right thing.
Would you do a rematch? Because I asked Dana White at the presser, and he's like, no, we're moving on. I think some fans do want to see this sort of concluded properly. Where do you stand on that?
No, like, Henry's a competitor. He can always make a fight happen. He makes fights happen well. But just the way the fight was going, I think Song was starting to take over. I don't see a point in it. I don't think we'll learn anything new.
All right. And then obviously your division, a lot's happening. We have the new vacant title coming up, but Ilya vacating and moving up. What was your reaction to that? Do you think he'll have success at 155?
Yeah, man. To me, Ilya is almost as perfect of a fighter as I've ever seen. It's like him and Islam are as perfect of fighters as I've seen. So that fight is so super intriguing. I'm bummed. Like, my eyes were set on Ilya. I was like, that guy scares me. That guy's got all this power. Mechanically speaking, his wrestling's phenomenal and his boxing's incredible. His understanding of distance, positioning. It's such a tough challenge. And I live for tough challenges. I get up for tough challenges. I wanted it to be him. So there's like a piece of me. And obviously I have one fight in the UFC. Like, it'd take a while for me to get to that point. But just as a competitor, I was like, stay. But I appreciate the ambition. I respect the ambition on his end, and I'm very, very curious to see what he can get done at 55.
If he fights Islam, can he beat him, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not an easy fight. They're both as close to perfect of fighters as I've ever seen. But yeah, man, the pop he's got, the center of gravity.
The power, right? Like, that's the thing. And he did a really good interview on Full Send. I don't know if you heard the interview, but he was talking about how he's like, look, I got 5 rounds to knock him out. Like, and the fight starts standing. So it's like, it's true. Like, how many guys have knocked out Volk and Holloway? Like, no one's knocked out Holloway except for him. It's crazy.
Nobody.
So,
yeah. And
really
we'll see what he looks like with the extra 10 pounds, man. You put an extra 10 pounds on a guy, it can be even more devastating.
Like Alex Pereira, right? Like Alex Pereira had no problem going up to 205, right? So that's interesting there. Okay, before we go, what do you got planned the rest of the week? Again, I know you had the big win last week, probably got to decompress, celebrate a bit, but I'm sure it's back to business. Take me through the rest of this week, what you got up coming up.
Yeah, man, I've been thinking heavily about like the next steps of evolution. I think I gotta clean up some of the grappling. I gotta level up the grappling to compete with the elite. My grappling's pretty good. I'm very confident against most guys, especially at the stage I'm at right now. I want the top, man, and I gotta be elite everywhere. I'm gonna check out Angel Cejudo's wrestling camp right now. That was a big deal, man. There's just a bunch of kids that are absolute animals. They're just running through the nation right now. So to be able to go over there, see how they structure the practice, see how they go about training, just bounce ideas off of them who are solely focused. They eat, train, sleep, wrestling is going to be a big help. So going to be trying to do that Monday and Wednesdays. And then I'm going to do Brandon Moreno's podcast in Vegas tomorrow. Maybe go train
Oh,
with them a
nice.
little bit. Yeah, train with them a little bit and then do the podcast Wednesday, actually. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll be looking for
Finish my
that.
week.
And in the meantime, man, where can people get a hold of you on social media? And if you got any sponsors or shout outs or anything like that, man, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, man. J Delgado _ 145 on Instagram. That's how you can find me on Instagram. That's all I really got. And then if you're in Arizona, if you're in Phoenix, go to Brothers Jerky. They've been one of my longtime sponsors, and they got some of the cleanest organic jerky in the game. So Brothers Jerky, hit them up.
There we go. All right.